and welcome to the show. What's going on, everybody? I was just so Bootsy, a new feature. Happy New Year, by the way, brother. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year's for the last 2 years. But I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm doing great. For the last 2 years. Happy New Year.
A new feature, Bootsy. We are now streaming on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw when you were experimenting with that.
I was experimenting with it, and I don't even know. Like I said, I couldn't find it, but I think we are. If you are watching on Instagram, let me know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, Mark and Bootsy, we are back. What's up, Norma? We're back for 2024 heavy. Bootsy, we're back heavy. A lot going on, but we're going to do this.
Okay, if you say so. From your lips
see,
to the from your lips to God.
Don't play with me.
Hey, you're the guy out here. You're the guy, aka Mr. In Demand, aka Mr. Make It Happen, aka Catch Me on the Tube. I mean, Mr. I'm doing a vegan challenge and did not include me in it. And I wonder how you got into. I wonder how you got into this plant-based alkaline. Well, don't worry about it.
Bootsy, okay, enough. Now I had to hop on, and it's so funny. We are so in tune. I knew that you were watching this drama unfold. So it's a calm Wednesday night in America, and already we had talked casually about Shannon Sharp's ascent from a standpoint of he is like, he's on fire. I mean, you got Club Shay Shay, you got Uncle Ocho with him and Chad Ochocinco, which right now is right over 500,000 subscribers, even though it's only been on for like 3 or 4 months. Club Shay Shay is way past 1 million. And then, he does, I go 2 or 3 times a week. He's now with Stephen A. Smith.
But he's also with Gilbert Arenas now. And that one has been picking up as well. So
he adds Gilbert. It's still Uncle Ocho. He adds Gilbert to talk basketball because Chad Ochocinco is not comfortable with basketball. But Gilbert Arenas, who actually does a great job. I think Gilbert Arenas is better on Shannon's show than he is on his own podcast, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because he's not, he's like the big guy on his show. But like Shannon is doing it. Shannon is showing you the power of entrepreneurship in 2024, or just go do it yourself, build, and they will come. He is now embodying that. He's maximizing it.
And we are media guys who also have podcasts, and of course, because of me, Bootsy, I'll take the blame. Not as consistent as it needs to be. Me and Allison's podcast, not as consistent. And here you got Shannon hopped in and just took over. So now you're seeing, I had to laugh because now more and more people are hopping in the podcast world. And I will say this, Bootsy, one of the reasons I hopped on, everybody's talking about the Kevin Hart. We're going to get to that. I'm not Kevin Hart, Katt Williams, and him tearing down all the comedians. We're going to get to that.
Right.
But really, I think our focus is more on, like you said, kind of like what's happening with, look at how far streaming's come. If you go back, just 4 years ago compared to now.
2 years ago when we started.
2 years ago.
Because remember, we were doing this midday. We did over 70, 75 episodes. But we could go back and see it. We can go back and look at it. And we're people that we had on there where they're at now.
Yeah.
I look at a Denise Cardwell. I look at Jackson, the girl who's a real estate agent here. She's kind of growing up about to be on a reality show. Me and her have been talking too. It's crazy because a lot of DC people I met through you.
Yeah, and so it's growing up, and so I knew the Katt Williams thing would break the internet, and I think right now, this morning when I went to work, it was around 4 million views. I'm sure it's around 6 million views now. Everybody's talking about it at work, and and I work at a damn TV station. Everybody's talking about it. I think the comedians are going to be fine. Katt went in on Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Kevin Hart. Who else? Earthquake.
Yeah. He did.
So he went hard, but that's Katt Williams. I think the comedians, the fact that I wouldn't have responded. Cedric responded quickly. I wouldn't have responded.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes when you touch a nerve or there's some truth in it, but I would really love to know from a guy who's on the news every day that has to present these topics. Just if you could kind of right now, give me your thoughts about it so far. One other question is, did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing. You know me now, Boots. You know I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
Okay.
I was excited about it. Here's the thing. This is my observation, Boots, and I think this is what the transition is happening. Because what's interesting is even the people's response, like more traditional media people, they were like, "Oh, Shannon needs to fact check," blah 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 blah. Right? First of all, ain't nobody fact checking on a podcast, and I think there's the rub. If you come on a podcast, you have to come as your genuine self. And case in point, Kirk Franklin, who was just on Club Shay Shay, he came in honest. I'm a Christian, but he came in with all his warts. He put it all out there.
He did.
He was genuine. It was a great interview. It was a amazing interview. And I think that's what podcasts can offer, possibilities that the traditional don't, because you can not only cuss and keep it real and get candid, you can go to places you can't go on traditional platforms. And so I think.
But the other thing that they not giving Shannon his credit for, you just said it, Shannon is like Vlad. He's like coming like the black Vlad. Shannon makes you feel comfortable. He's almost having a homely conversation. He's laughing with you. And then you just go. He's not really getting you with got you questions. He's like, hey,
letting you talk.
Give me your take. And then, so anybody that's upset about with Shannon, then they must really be in their feelings, because he's just talking to you like Uncle Shay Shay.
I think what I also noticed, Bootsy, was, and we're in this world now where this is definitely the case. What's up, DJ D Money? The Blend Show wants to grab you. Definitely, DJ D Money. Let's make it happen.
Yes, sir.
The traditional people, the professionals, what they're missing is somebody's like, oh, I could barely hear him interview. I don't like how he interviews. He's a very good interviewer. He does deep. He has a research team. He's very prepared. That, like you said, that down home, that Southern, whatever, don't get it twisted.
But also he don't dominate the conversation.
Right.
That's another thing. He does not, I like noise in them, but sometimes I cannot look at Drink Champs because it's just too much.
Yeah.
Shannon don't overtalk it. He kind of leads you, and he just kind of like let you go, And he'd be like, "Oh Lord, oh Lord, Lord, Katt, let me drink."
This was interesting because Katt Williams is a very challenging interview. I've interviewed Katt before. You're not challenging Katt Williams. Katt Williams is gifted from a standpoint of with his words. Mm-hmm. He's super smart. He's super snarky. He's brilliant. And so if you're going to put, you got to bring a lunch if you're trying to go back and forth. In fact, I just watched the interview
with Wanda.
I just watched the Wanda piece. Wanda, why Wanda? Why did you open up that? Do not. That's what I'm saying. Even the comedians said, Steve, Ricky was brilliant. Ricky said basically blessings. He kept it. He did not want any smoke. He kept it moving.
But also, he brought his manager on this morning to talk about it and say, hey, do you remember how this went? He really detailed it. And then he said, hey, I love him. I don't know. He said, man, I just saw him with my grandfather. I don't know where this is coming from. He knew. Let me get on out of here. So he kind of eased out of it. He said his piece. I love you. Thanks, man.
Yeah. I think, what's up, Rondi? He said with Katt, even Shannon. Yeah, because I think Shannon is put in an interesting situation. You want to get views, but Katt, in some ways, on a traditional platform, Katt could get you fired and get you canceled, right? So that's also look at the blessing for Shannon. He's independent enough where he has his own company, his own job, he has his own. So he's not dependent on the network anymore. So you have to be conscious of it because you don't want to offend sponsors. You don't want to offend your core, but you also have the freedoms. And that's what podcasts are providing that the traditional don't. Also, I think, so basically for people, if you haven't seen any of it, I'm going to play some of the clips, but basically Katt was responding to the comedians who had been on the show, Cedric, Steve, Ricky, they've been on the show. So that's why he came ready to fire these arrows, because how they presented themselves. And again, Katt's the kind of person that I'm sure watched every minute of it and listened very closely. And so when what Katt's issue is how they characterize things, because, and I think, Bootsy, this is the transition that we're going through. When Steve comes on, Ricky comes on, even said to a degree, and everybody loves Cedric. We all love Cedric. But if you come on like a Steve has a lot going on, and it's hard for Steve to be his authentic self. So when Steve talks about his wife, and Steve talks about, he has things he talks about that is, it's kind of true, but you really just kind of you're saying these things because you're in front of a camera, in front of a microphone. It ain't the truth. Katt Williams gonna give you the truth, right?
Right.
And so the same thing with Ricky. The way Ricky talked about, he didn't mean anything by it. I don't think. He casually said, "Oh, I was supposed to play the pimp, right, or whatever, the character." First of all, like Katt pointed out, back then, Ricky was you're a church guy, and you playing a pimp. Let's keep it real, is not believable. Katt set a bar that is so true, but is offensive. But if they're honest, it's true. And I love Ricky, and I love Tyler Perry. Katt said they are better at playing women, and he ain't lied. From a standpoint of Tyler Perry, Medea is a beast.
I get that.
Tyler Perry playing a guy like he plays like his nephew or whatever. It's always not that great. And then Tyler in most movies is not that great. But nobody's gonna say that, but it's true. And then Ricky Smiley's character, the Miss Bernice is a beast from a standpoint of versus, okay, we want Ricky here. You're gonna play a whatever, and he's gonna be a postman. I don't know.
Well, I will say this. The thing to me is I respected what Katt was saying, but I felt sometimes he was going over the line.
Oh,
especially when he said, "Hey, I put in a contract that Ricky had to wear a dress or he couldn't be in the movie." Like you could tell the truth without looking like you're kind of jabbing at them. You could say, "Hey, you know what I mean?" And I felt some parts of the interview he was telling the unadulterated truth as he saw it, but I felt like sometimes it felt a little personal, and he was like, "Let me just knife into you a little bit."
Oh, that's Katt Williams. I mean, Katt Williams said Cedric the Entertainer is not an entertainer. Cedric is an entertainer. Cedric can dance and Cedric can sing. That's why everybody loves Cedric. There's not a Cedric the Entertainer
there's no St. Louis bias on this, is it? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, the what do you want to say?
I'm joking.
Yeah, here's the deal, and I had some insight into this. Oh, about the Kings of Comedy, Kings of Comedy, right?
Me too.
The Kings of Comedy piece. It is a fact that Steve struggled on the Kings of Comedy. It is a fact that they made the decision to make Steve the host because he struggled. Now, in all fairness, Steve said that though. Steve said it. He didn't say everything, but he said it to a degree. He said basically coming after Bernie, nobody can come after Bernie, so he moved some things around. Reality was Steve was suffering. Why? Because Steve, out of all those comedians, came up in the traditional comedy club way where you played Thursday through Saturdays at these white clubs, blah, 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 blah. Everybody else played black audiences. They were the Chitlin Circuit kings. You know what I mean? And so for them, playing arenas was they were used to playing black audience arenas, period. Right. And so
I will say this. I know with some people, and this is just, some insight. People felt a way about him and Bernie, about what they did to Bernie. A lot of people felt like Bernie was done wrong by a few of them. I don't want to say whoever, you know what I mean? So it was always some tension because, even when the funeral happened, they had not been speaking. And a lot of people felt a certain way about they did Bernie wrong. People were working together. So I do know with a lot of comedians who love Bernie, they felt some type of way about Steve on that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
I
well,
do. That I
yeah,
do know.
well, and also, and so again, talking about a new world.
Mm,
Steve had the fake hair, and it speaks to Steve's ego. And Steve's not the only one. I'm not going to bust somebody. I know, we know a couple people, and I always wondered why, especially a comedian, especially somebody that's like, why would you set yourself up? Come on and say it. Steve's on the radio every day. Steve ain't never said it was a hairpiece. You know what I'm saying? And so
mm,
that speaks to that's what Katt's tapping into. You're being a bit disingenuous, for
right.
whatever reason, insecurity, boom, boom, boom. And
Mark
so
Curry, and then the Mark Curry piece on that,
the
which
Mark
which people had brought up before too, about him stealing the concept, and because Mark Curry demanded a lot of stuff. He wanted ownership. You know,
yeah.
I'd heard that, but I would love to know from the interview what stuck out to you the most. Which one was like, ooh, like, I mean, all of it was ooh.
It wasn't a ooh. I think there were things that I think it was interesting. He said that the Kings of Comedy was supposed to be actually Steve Harvey's tour, which that's
Mm,
interesting. And I wouldn't I don't necessarily, I could see that because Walter Lathan
my
and
guy.
you know what I mean? So that's interesting. What stood out?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, right before the Kings of Comedy, Walter Lathan had did a Kings of Comedy music tour with them. Steve Harvey was the only one that wasn't on it. Um, and it was with Earth, Wind and Fire and the Ozzy Brothers. And
Yeah,
before they ended up doing arena tour, it was Earthquake, Bruce, DL Hughley, Sid did some dates. The only Bernie did the Chicago dates. He was around, but he was doing some production. But Steve Harvey was the one that wasn't around the most. I was always
yeah,
fascinated with that. But they had did a full-fledged, sponsored by Crown Royal, Kings of Comedy music tour. So I do remember that being
yeah.
around.
Well, and what stood out for me really, I think, is not the comedians are going to be fine. They know each other. They've been knowing each other forever. They've been going at it
Mhm.
forever. Katt is respected as a comedian. You cannot love him or hate him. You can't deny him as a comedian.
Right.
Um, and you can't deny them either. Their bank accounts show their bank accounts show that they're successful. So everybody
Mhm.
has their favorites, love them or hate them, boom, boom, boom. But the biggest takeaway for me though was watching. What stood out for me was what he said that he wanted to violate his virgin space.
Yeah, Diddy. That and he said sometimes you just gotta tell Diddy no. Mm.
He said, "Yeah, right, yeah, yeah." It's yeah, that's CLC. Leave it up to you. That did stand out though. I think we are in this space where these things that we know, we're not shocked by these things. So we've been in entertainment forever. We know, but the way it's coming out is interesting. Um,
Just a just in time for his new tour.
just in time for Katt's new tour. Yeah, well, perfect. I
Yeah,
love the fact that he was watching Shannon's show and he respects Shannon's show and he hopped on and then blew it to took it to the next level. But yeah, so I think what we're seeing is again the
Sorry, I'm still not sure about
hey,
oh man.
see, here's the thing. The old Mark didn't have this problem when we were doing these podcasts. Nobody was looking for you. Nobody was checking for you. You know, Mr. High in Demand. Mr. High in Demand around here.
But yeah, the traditional versus podcasting. I think we talked about this before. So Shannon's is now the Black Joe Rogan Podcast. Long form, Club Shay Shay, long form, stream of consciousness in a lot of ways. He's super prepared, so he's going to ask you the questions, but the
Right.
guests have the freedom to go there. And I think as Shannon saw with this interview, it could be pretty dangerous when someone, because people are like, oh, he's going to get sued. I don't think so. I think most of the people are comedians, and they're not gonna, what are you gonna sue? Oh, you sued me because you said I wore a fake hairpiece, or you sued me because you said I stole Mark Curry stuff. I think Steve's gonna stay out of the fray and not even comment. Cedric has commented. Ricky kind of halfway commented. Kevin Hart has commented. And so for those who didn't see any of it, I'm gonna give you a little bit of it.
Okay.
And I needed you to know why I came by.
Yeah, I need you to tell us why.
People know I don't go everywhere. I'm not interested in talking to people unless it's like a Larry King or somebody of an amazing ilk that I would actually want to go talk to in real life.
Okay.
I don't do it so I can sell product, and I got things to sell, so let me come talk. You have a great product here, and as a fan base, we love the attention that you spend on the guest. We love how much work you've done, how well you know them, how prepared you are. The same things that we liked about you in football. You brought that on over to here, and that's why it resonates. And the reason I had to come is because you've made a safe place for the truth to be told. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate
and
that.
I have watched all of these lowbrow comedians come here and disrespect you in your face and tell you straight up lies. I'm talking about things that have never been heard in all of Black Hollywood. They feel comfortable sitting here lying to you about it.
You gonna set the record straight?
Are you kidding me? You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. And then he said some stuff that we haven't heard in 100 years in Hollywood. You ain't say nothing. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike.
Wait.
And Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus. Now three quick points. You mean in Hollywood they cast a 5'5" black Santa Claus that weigh 145 pounds? That's your story. Your story is the Ricky Smiley that couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
Well, I didn't know
he shouldn't be able. You wouldn't let a athlete that been on steroids talk about one of the greats. Ricky Smiley can't act because Ricky Smiley can't act. He told you the story about when the movie came out. Where did he say he watched it? At home. He wasn't even at the premiere. You telling this man, you stole that. Oh, so he could get his name in the same sentence with a great one. It is sad. He was just that bitter when we were shooting it. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was.
So Katt was obviously, he was going in. And again, here's the thing about comedians.
He was waiting. He was ready. He was waiting.
Oh yeah, the comedians and their jokes, right? I hate to say this, but comedians need to get over the whole stole joke thing. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, because here's the thing about comedy. Here's the thing about it to me. It's your point of view. And a lot of times people share the same point of views, but it's like, man, first of all, Katt's super successful, Ricky's super successful. Holding on to that, what is this holding on to? Katt Williams, really from a standpoint of when you talk about, intellectually writing,
Gifted.
You're a writer, you're a comedian, right? Your gift. Mm-hmm. Man, you have it's just like Cedric. If Cedric don't have to steal. I know Cedric. I know Cedric. You know what I mean? I was in St. Louis with Cedric the Entertainer.
There's no St. Louis bias going on right now. There's no St. Louis bias going on.
He may or may not. These people don't have to steal. You know what I mean? Now, some comedians, to me, their shtick, is their shtick. But again, a Katt Williams, it's almost like Chappelle saying someone stole from. It's like, dude, you are writers. You got a billion ideas. It's like, who cares? And actually, that joke, you know, and then every time they do it, every time they roll out the joke, right? What happens? You go, because everybody's posting the joke. It shows Katt Williams like he's driving a car, whatever, right? The reality is Cedric's version is funnier than your version. Period.
So there's no St. Louis bias going on in this, right? There's no St. Louis bias.
Because I've been, I'm everywhere, Bootsy. You know, I'm a comedy student. So
right.
Did he
I will say this though.
If he stole it, can I say he didn't steal it? Nope, I cannot. I guess I'm saying is if I'm either one of these guys, who cares?
So my question is, but you don't think he has no right to feel some type of way about it though? Because he created it, it was his intellectual property. He's about the craft. You don't think he don't got a right to feel, maybe a little bit?
No, because first of all, again, but that's my philosophy. That's me as I'm a radio guy. I'm a radio guy. I don't give a damn if you stole from the Big Fat Morning Show or Mark Clark, because I can create other jokes. What are you standing on? I never forget. Also, people think alike. Somebody just said people are showing the receipts. Cedric definitely. So let me tell you something. First of all, Cedric's not based on jokes. Cedric's entertainer's success is his vibe, his energy. Cedric's is everybody's uncle, cousin, brother.
Right.
He's the funny guy at every cookout. His is not based on specific jokes. Cedric does not have to tell a joke and be funny. That's what his thing is. You know what I mean? And
I could see if you got your power joke, you know what I mean, and then you supposed to be homies because they were cool, and then you take his joke and act like you didn't do it. Even though I get it, I could see why he may feel. Now 20 years later, I get that. That may be too long. He can let it go. But I can understand sometimes because I've had stuff taken and recreated. I can get why an artist would feel that way. Yeah, I just want you to know that.
No. I understand. I'm just saying I just wasn't one of those kind of people. And I think, to be honest, comedians, I used to do parody songs. Mm-hmm. No lotion makes you dry sometime. I ran into with the girl who's a comedian, and then she turned Christian. She wrote a similar song. We never meet each other because this is my point. This is what it is. Mm. I forgot what it was. Especially when it's not brilliant. That's what I'm talking about. A point of view that's basic. Mm-hmm. What are we really talking about? You know what I'm saying? If you're saying something, if you have something that is unique, something that is special, something that is amazing, something that these jokes that they be tripping on are not even really they're nothing.
But an artist and a creator is not going to feel that way. I get your point.
Well, because comedy, what I'm saying, Bootsy, those people think alike. I guarantee you, if me and you watch something and you write down your reaction, I guarantee you more than 50%. If we say, look at this scenario and tell me what's funny about it, I guarantee you, if you're in a room full of funny people, over 50% of the room will say the same thing because it's obvious. No,
I get that.
You know what I mean?
But a creator and a artist would not take it that way. I get your point of view. I totally understand.
I'm a creator and an artist.
But you're not a comedian and I'm not either. But I could see how somebody who sat and came up with a whole concept for a joke that was one of his famous jokes would be upset that this man, or somebody considered this man, took it and kind of didn't acknowledge for him. I get it. I get your point though.
Well, and even Katt Williams' premise was not a spaceship.
Yeah, he just changed it around. Yeah, it wasn't a spaceship. I mean, the Big Mac, the Big Mac.
That's what the premise is.
We both got 2 patties, special sauce and cheese, but ours got sesame seeds bun and theirs don't. Like, I get all that. Yeah. But I could see how he felt that way, though. I could actually see how he could feel that way as somebody who was a creative and an artist. They're going to be sensitive about their stuff, in the words of Erykah Badu.
But are you right, though? That's the other part. Are you right? Are you right? Is he right?
Yeah, he is right. Truth be told, I think he is right.
How do you know? How do you know? How do we know?
Because somebody one person came up with a joke, and he took it and switched it around.
No. I'm saying that's the part, Boosie. I'm saying, how do we know that? It's like music. How do you know? You can't say that. You can't 100% say he stole your joke.
Okay, well, you know what? We're going to go there. They're cool. But he showed you on Comic View where he did it, and then he showed you where, because he didn't even. His name was Cat in the Hat at the time. It wasn't even Cat Williams.
Yeah.
But I get it. But I will say it's 27 years later. We probably should move on. Bernie's been dead for almost 10, 15 years. Like, I get it. Let's move on. But he wasn't lying though. I think
how could you say he wasn't lying?
Because one person showed years before he did it, and then another person can show where he did it after him.
No, he didn't show. He showed them doing. Cat Williams was driving a car or whatever he was doing.
So it's no St. Louis bias here. So it's no St. Louis bias here, is what you're telling me.
No, because we're talking about this specific joke. But what I'm saying is, as somebody who did a radio show, Russ Party always call me and say, "Hey man, I heard you stealing." Anybody got to steal? And I said, and of course I said I did, because I don't care. I don't have to. Right. That's what I guess what I'm saying. Funny people don't have to steal jokes, and I don't know if they're peers. That's the other thing. Cedric and Cat Williams are peers too.
No, I get it. But I will say this: he told a lot of truth in there. He embellished some stuff. He did it. I thought he embellished, but I also think that. He definitely embellished. Well,
he said he ran a 4.2. Cat Williams didn't run no damn 4.2. Again, that's what I loved about Shannon was Shannon just kept it moving. He didn't be like, "Oh no, you didn't." He was just like,
"I never did. I never did hard drugs." No, we saw you high before, so don't do that. We saw you high, he did embellish it, but it's interesting that he's a very intelligent, articulate, well-spoken person, and I do think the way he say it and how he lay it out as in a story format, or he kind of put the pieces together, he make you think about stuff. You know what I mean? So, he made a lot of people think. And I think this is going to be dominating the news cycle. You know who may be the luckiest? You know who the luckiest people out of all of this? Who the lucky people? Everybody on that Epstein's foul list that we ain't talking about today.
Sidetrack. And we wouldn't be talking about it anyway. The luckiest person is Shannon with those 6 million views. Brian says, "Mark, you're actually wrong on this one, man. Did you see the Cedric's famous Bubba Dishes joke was actually taken from this guy?" Yeah, I'm not. Let me be clear. Let me be clear on this. My stance on jokes and stealing. My stance is, I'm not saying Cedric stole it or not. I'm not saying he didn't steal it. What I'm saying is, I don't care if Cedric stole it. Cedric the entertainer, these guys they're already past that. You know what I mean? Cedric stealing the Bominicious joke and all that stuff. It's an industry of, these are jokes. These things have been around forever. That's a writer who writes the joke. How do you know they didn't steal the joke from Designing Women? In 1972. What I'm saying is, if I'm a comedian, and I always wanted to be one, but a radio host is equal. My intellectual comments and the way I think, for me, I'm just saying, this is for me, not for anybody else. Because like you said, Bootsy, artists feel like what Erykah Badu say about her shit, right?
Yeah.
For me as an artist, I don't care if anybody, I don't care if anybody stole my stuff, because I'm a creative. It's what I do. I'm not hanging my head on it. And so
I get that, but is he wrong for not feeling the way like you feel though? Is he wrong for feeling the way that he feels about it though?
My point was with comedians, they get in these, they're willing to fight people, they're willing to stab people. What I'm saying is, you're bigger than that. Right. You know what I mean? You're willing to fight somebody over, because as a parody songwriter, like I said, there's been instances when I wrote songs every Monday for a radio show, and I've heard other songs that are the same song. I didn't be like, I wrote that, because why? Number one, it ain't that deep from a standpoint of, it's not that creative. And that's the sign. If you write something that is unique, really unique and special, it's easy to spot if someone steals it because it's unique and special. Most of the stuff comedians be fighting over are some hacky. Here's the thing. That thing with again, Katt Williams versus Cedric the Entertainer. That's that he's saying that you stole that physical move and applied it to your joke, right? Cedric's a physical guy. Katt's a physical guy too. So it's almost like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That could have easily, they both are physical comedians. Now, if a guy who's a straight guy who doesn't do physical does it, then you're like, okay, you know what I mean?
No, I get it. I get it.
You know,
I get it.
It's like musicians, same thing. But regardless of that,
no St. Louis bias. It's no St. Louis bias in your opinion, all right?
No. Okay. I'm an objective person.
I'm being funny.
I'm not from St. Louis. That's
I'm just
I've been
with
here
you.
longer than St. Louis. CL says Marky stole the joke, bro. So, what's your takeaway? I think that the backlash is really just amongst the fans because the comedians are the comedians. What do you think the backlash would be, if there's any, with after this this whole thing?
That's a great question, but I think it all depends on why he did it. Word on the curve is he has a new tour coming out. He's doing a comedy special. It seems to be a theme. Even Chris Rock did a comedy special. You know, people seem to be doing that. I don't know if it's going to be some backlash, because if he wanted to get attention to promote what he's doing next, then he won. But I do think in some instances he went a little bit too far. I didn't like about him saying Earthquake was illiterate. I didn't like about, the Ricky Smiley stuff. And I do think I didn't like what he did about Kevin Hart. Now, I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan. I don't think he's the funniest person in the world, but I do believe that he carved the niche out for himself and he works hard. And I do think he really deserved it. So I think it's a lot of it was the backlash is he looks like a hater who could be mad that he's not where other people are at, or he wanted to just make himself the king, or I don't know. But I don't know if it's going to be a backlash because he's now in a news cycle. And and a lot of them phrases, all attention is good attention, and he got our attention.
Well, I think here's the thing. I think people get. I don't think people really understand about Katt Williams. Katt Williams is already successful. Katt Williams is not. He does not. There's no backlash because his fan base is his fan base. Katt Williams sells out stadiums without anything. He doesn't have, like he said, he don't have to do this. That's who he is. That's his brand. His brand of comedy is his fans love Katt Williams. You know what I mean? And actually, that's what he's pointing out on different things. The funny part was, so I think what he basically is saying is when he said Steve said he included DL, but DL does tours all the time, and they are system guys, and they are system guys.
I get that.
They're system guys. They have these huge jobs. They, like was said, like opening acts, comedians like them put on guys who usually aren't as funny as they are. They are not killers,
right? And
they may be with them forever in that same position for 15 years as an opener for Cedric the Entertainer. Katt Williams, look at who he has on his shows. He's got
Red Grant is his boy.
He's got he's got Tommy Davidson. He's got Luell. He got Luell. So his and they're going at it. They're going to be funny. He's not like worried about them overshadowing. He's not playing that game. And I think that's what he's really talking about is it's like the radio thing. I was just saying, when Ricky Smiley got syndicated, I was just thinking about this the other day. I remember we were at a conference when this thing almost got hatched, right? So it wasn't seasoned radio veterans who have the ability to connect to the audience and articulate that to their audience.
Right.
It was, he's splashy, he's a comedian, and comedians are more well-known than DJs.
Right.
So the equivalent, the equivalent to radio would be the same thing. No, we're not going with a established talent. We're going with famous Black people because
Right.
they're going to have a bigger audience. And so I think that's what he's saying when you get picked, if it's Kevin Hart, if it's this and that. And he was remember there was a time when he got picked, but his issues, probably a combination of his issues and a combination of things, he was not picked. But the part about it also, though, is he's the kind of personality that would do better how he's doing anyway right now. So I think the part that I think people need to understand, I think they don't understand if you're not a big comedy fan or a big Katt Williams fan, is Katt Williams makes a lot of money. And he's not a part of the system.
Right.
So I think people feel like, oh, he didn't do this for clout. That's who he is. His track record shows this is who this dude is.
Go Google him. Go Google that Frank Ski, that interview with Frank Ski and Wanda. You'll see he's done this a while. He's done this a few times.
And the Wanda thing, him adding the insight into Wanda thing, I think the irritation or the anger that he has or the blah, blah, blah is he's almost like, I'm minding my business. Y'all mind your business. Don't say my name out your mouth. With the Wanda thing, he was like, and I remember that was really Red's appearance on the show. Katt was like, I'm chilling outside. Right. Wanda came and got him out and said, I'm not going to ask you about this and that. We just want to give you some love because you're in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Why Wanda? Why bring him in? And then you can't match this man. You can't match what you can't do it. Nobody can. Nobody's gonna
outwit him in a conversation in a small time. But having Red Grant laughing the way he do that, like that made it all worse. Like Red Grant laugh makes everything worse.
Right. So, what's your thoughts about? So my take on Shannon in the Joe Rogan piece. We talked about it before. We were like, who's gonna be the Black version of Joe Rogan? Because, the people who don't watch Joe Rogan don't really understand the success. I don't think they don't really get it. But I think Shannon has a lot of similar qualities.
Absolutely.
In this world, this podcast world, I think if you're an unknown, it's damn near impossible to get millions of viewers if you're not over the top doing some craziness or
plugged in with somebody.
Yeah. If you're I'm saying a regular person.
Yeah,
a regular person. So Shannon, like Joe Rogan, you're part of the establishment, but you're not a part of the establishment. You're a former football star that so many identify with. Why? Because of who you are, your career, and let's keep it real. The physical aspect of a Shannon Sharp, he's 55, but he's still hip. He's still in the culture from a standpoint of as that jock culture. Right. So he can talk that talk.
But also the success he had being with Skip Bayless, because that really gave him the platform to develop his voice. Because in the beginning, he wasn't a great talker. You could tell he took it serious and really gravitated.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like he took his sports commitment, dedication, and just took it to the podcasting media world.
Yeah.
Because he's really found a niche. But man.
Yeah, and watching him, you definitely see that. You're right. He's very disciplined. He's very serious. It's what we need to do. No,
but also but I'm gonna tell you what he do really good. He know not to include himself in everything. Because a lot of people on podcasts like Nori, I see a lot of people, it's almost like they'll ask you a question and then they talk more than you do. Shannon, I know you probably said it. Hey, trust me, I make broadcast journalism too.
And you drink it. And they're drinking too. So how long can that theme go on while you're drinking? Are you just tearing your body down?
Yeah, well, I think Noriega could get away with it because he's funny and he did it first. But I don't think that's gonna work for everybody else. But Shannon just has really carved a niche. I'm really interested to see where he's gonna go because, as you know, he's only on ESPN 2 days a week. He's only on Mondays and Tuesdays. He's not there every day, so he get to do everything else. But man, he might really be the Black Joe Rogan. He's versatile. He know his stuff. He's well prepared, but he know not to include himself in it. That's his real gift.
And you're talking about, you already got Club Shay Shay, this I think like 1.5 million or more. You got Unk and Ocho, which is now around 650,000 or 500,000. Moving toward, they're going to be 1 million, definitely 1 million this year.
Mhm.
And so now multiple millions on your own platform. And just think, it's almost like going back and being on traditional television or traditional cable is almost like a bummer, because you can't cuss, you can't keep it all the way real, and almost like you do a cleaned up version of your other shows.
A watered down version, not
Yeah.
even cleaned up. When we're looking for you to be who we love you for, and then you have to go there and got to tone it down. But man, I will say this: I'm interested in seeing who follows his route. Ryan Clark has been doing it a little bit. There are a lot of people I see now that are on TV really focusing on podcasting as well. So I'm just waiting to see, where it's going to go. Now I know you probably going to get off soon. Do you want to discuss any of the radio stuff, or you want to leave that out?
Let's go ahead. I mean, our fans, our 7 fans, no. So big changes in, is it all of Radio 1? And I saw Ricky Smiley tweeted something that it's over. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, he tweeted something like, "It's been a fun ride." So tell us tell us the latest, Bootsy. What's going on?
Well, what I do know is that Amanda Seal is coming to this market, doing the 10 to 3. I know there had been a lot of talk the last year and a half about Amanda Seal. Will she do good in this market? So she is coming to Magic 102.2, 2.3, starting next week, 10 to 3, and I'm very interested. I'm gonna be interested to see with that, because I had a discussion with a few people. People wanted to know my opinion on behind the radio scenes, and I was like, I'm interested to see what she's doing in this market. I will say that.
Yeah, it's so interesting as former radio hosts.
Mhm.
This thing here, man, I just have to laugh. I'm like, they just picking people just from Ralph Tresvant. Is it Ralph Tresvant hosting the Quiet Storm?
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing about that is, it came down to Raheem Devon and Ralph, and they chose him because of his name.
No, yeah, Raheem would have been better.
Yeah, because
Raheem is the Quiet Storm.
Yeah, I mean, and literally, but Raheem had been doing radio. He'd been doing, people have been talking to him. And I don't want to say they picking people, because we're going back to what you said about they'll pick names first versus skill. Yeah, but I'm interested to see what this Amanda Seal thing is going to turn out. I'm interested, because I had been hearing this literally last year at this time. They were talking about bringing her in.
CL said, not the Quiet Storm. That's HUR. You're right, CL on it.
Yeah, but everybody uses the Quiet Storm now, so or a variation of it. But I was, how do you think she's going to do it? How you think she's going to do in this market? Have you heard her radio show before?
No. Amanda Seals. See, when we did, so here's our challenge, right, Bootsy? When we did radio, they didn't want us to talk. So now you have a talker, right? So okay, y'all. Now y'all want people to talk, because it's a person, again, not a national person, a comedian, but you want them to talk. Okay. Is it a music format? Is it a talk format? Is it innovative? Is it the same OBS you put on there? Is it putting Ralph Tresvant on the music and then recording it and just some half-baked? Where's the innovation, Black Radio? Where's the innovation, Black Radio? Speaking of Black Radio, please take Miss Hughes off that. It's whatever that little thing she does. Please. Nobody wants to hear that, Miss Hughes. Please take that away. I mean, Black Radio shot itself in the foot.
Okay, Mark Katt Williams Clark. Okay.
Black Radio shot itself in the foot, never served its community, and is a mess, and isn't even taking like the cues from, here's the deal. The only people who care about radio are 45 plus, number one. right? That's your passion factor in radio. All the other demos don't matter. So y'all either need to sell it or put 45 plus. That's who has passion for radio. Nobody else, those other kids don't care. So you just spinning your wheels, right? Number two, hey, I got an idea. How about some of these podcasts that got million followers? Put them on the radio. Where's the, if you're going to put some new talent on, why don't you why don't you look for new talent that's already has an audience that would make sense and put them on? You know what? It feels like your girl who's a cook would be a better radio thing than, what's it called? Your girl who's a cook, is it Tasha Smith or whatever? Not Tasha, you know what I'm talking about. Who's the girl, the woman who has the books and everybody loves her? She does the cooking.
I know a few people that do that.
No, she's got seasonings in the Walmart.
Oh, yeah. Oh. She got the country accent. I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, child. Yeah.
I'm not a program director, Bootsy. That's who I put on the radio. She already got sponsored tie-ins. You do lifestyle with people 40 plus. Vacation, food, blah, 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 blah. Come on.
Good health, healthy living, AARP. I'm sorry.
Nobody wants to hear Amanda Seals. Nobody wants to talk politics because they don't. Because it's tiring.
Yeah, but also it's not local. I think people still miss the fact that it should be some connection to the community when you're doing this.
They gave that up.
Yeah.
They gave that up. This was Bootsy. I don't know.
I don't know.
It says Ricky Smiley says, well, B-Ham, it's been real. Thank y'all for everything. Oh, maybe they just changed the market. Maybe he's not in that market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's gone because I've been hearing what they're going to do with these other markets.
So I'm sorry, Bootsy. Say it one more time. In DC, we've lost Russ Parr.
Mm-hmm.
Russ Parr is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Simpson's gone.
I've not heard an official word on that.
Oh, we don't know.
So let me just say this. I haven't heard an official word.
Okay. What was the other show?
Well, Vic Jagger going to the mornings.
Vic Jagger's going to mornings.
With Huggy Lowdown. My guy.
Yep, we love Huggy Lowdown. But again, how many times is it going to be Huggy Lowdown with George Wilbon? There's only 4 names that call out at Radio 1 or at WHUR. It's the same. Right. It's the same. Hey, what about Huggy Lowdown?
Bruh, I need the George Wilbon contract.
George has a lifetime contract. Whoever's at this station, it does not matter. Okay, here you go. Kendrick is my sidekick. Shannon has 7 million views one day ago. Oh, damn. 7. It was 4 this morning when I went to work.
Yeah, it was about 6 about an hour ago when I was looking at it.
So Bootsy, after you have this kind of show, do you just calm it down and go back to a regular show to kind of calm things down, or do you keep pushing?
Know. I think you keep pushing. I think you got to strike. But one thing about this world we live in, it's an entrepreneur.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I've been telling all my students this in my program. Man, take some business classes because there's an entrepreneur component, business acumen component about this now that you're gonna have to know. You just cannot just, I had a program director tell me, man, I know you would do good in this market, but until you get some traction on YouTube and all that, I don't know if it's gonna matter because the days of you having an air check and you putting it in and getting hired, those days are over. Yeah. He said that he kind of really had a conversation with me. He said, I know you would do good, but he was like, man, people need to see some social media traction, some engagement, see what it's about, see what it would look like. And I do think that's where everything is going. And I tell everybody, take business classes. I've been telling all my students, add business classes because this is a entrepreneur business acumen going to the next phase.
Yeah, it just hasn't caught up. It just hasn't caught up to anything. It's like I work in TV, radio. Sadly, I feel like they have not caught up. They're not students of the game. There's nobody that's a student of the game at the top that implements strategies that can help you win. So radio will say what that dude that you sat down with, dude or dudette, will say that to you, but there's no evidence that shows that engagement on social media translates to radio listenership.
Right.
And so then they're like, oh, well, maybe you can help drive up our no, it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's kind of like, that's the part that's frustrating in that I see it, you know, being formerly radio and now television, you just see the disconnect. It's like, because you have people, you don't have innovative thinkers. You have people that's holding on to their jobs. And
basically,
so when they get off that call with corporate and they say blah, 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 you know what I mean? They didn't try to they don't even understand. They just say, hey, yeah, blah, 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 blah. What's up, Deidre? Happy New Year. Deidre Marshall's back.
Yes. No, I agree with that 100%. And I just think people need to know, it's interesting. I met with the Attorney General, me and my 6 students from our program that was on the NBC special.
Come on, Bootsy Vegas. That's right. That's right. Drop it, Bootsy. Let them know. Bootsy.
I was explaining to him how young people consume music and where they get their information from. I was explaining to him Kilmo News, you know, chat room, shade room, and all that. And he looks and says, Kilmo News. He had no clue. So, you know, there's such a disconnect on how people consume music. And the other thing is, I still have not seen radio stations really use social media the way I think they could use it.
Right.
They do. They just don't. The Breakfast Club should show everybody how to do it. The Breakfast Club is not in a lot of these markets that we watch. The Breakfast Club has never been in the DMV area, never. But we know everything that they're doing. So I still think that they're slow to come across of how to deal with social media, the internet, Instagram, Reels. You know, it's interesting. You know what I mean? Because Charlamagne and Angela Yee showed y'all how to do it if y'all want to do it. So,
well, Bootsy, just like us, all we need is 7,065,240 more viewers, and we'd be just right there with Shannon.
We'd be right on his heels.
Right on him.
He wouldn't know what to do. He'll fold like a lawn chair.
Let me be clear to all of our viewers. Is Cedric a joke thief? Could be. I just want everybody to be clear with my stance.
Right.
Understand me as a Gemini, Bootsy Vegas. You ain't never going to hear Mark Clark say, I know Bootsy did not steal.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to hear Mark Clark say, I know Bootsy did steal. You're going to hear Mark Clark say, and that's what I feel about Cedric and stealing. I'm not saying he didn't steal it. I'm just like,
hey, and I'm sure it was no St. Louis homie bias in your opinion.
No bias.
I'm sure that had nothing to do.
Here's the irony of it all. The irony of it all. If Cedric is a joke stealer, the irony of it all is years ago when Cedric was in town. So, you know, I was in St. Louis when he went to LA, when Cedric left.
Mm-hmm.
And Cedric is in town. I was on the radio, of course, wanted to be a comedian, kind of, you know, that part. So the irony was Lavelle Crawford was doing his comedy thing at this Ponderosa. It used to be a Ponderosa steakhouse, but now it was a black club. You know how we be doing. And so Cedric came in. It was like, you know, a Thursday night, Wednesday night, that comedy night, the black night in town on the black side of town. So Ced was in town. Hey, Ced's in town. And I was like, hey, man, I got some jokes I want to write for you, man. Ced's like, oh, man, I write my own jokes. Wait a minute. Dun, dun, dun.
That's your guy.
Because remember, Katt said Cedric does not write jokes.
Right. But the other thing is he was like, nah, Marcus, cool. I'm going to wait to see what Katt Williams do. And I'm going to use his jokes. I ain't going to use, no.
Hold on, Mark. Let me watch your special.
Yeah, hold on. Katt's on stage right now.
And let me say, that's my man. Cedric, DL.
We could
It's funny,
tell.
Cedric, DL, Lavelle. All, so, but again, I just think I don't take it serious. I think Cat is Cat, and they know that, and it is what it is. You know, all that stuff he said before. It just happened to be in a podcast form, but he said it before.
I got it, and I'm sure no St. Louis bias went into your opinion on this matter. That had nothing to do with it. That he literally stopped the interview one day and was like, "My clock." You know what I mean? So, I'm
hey,
sure.
man, that's right. So, all right, Bootsy, we did it. The first week in 2024, we hopped on for, I know what, over an hour. We hopped on for real, right?
Who
I
knew?
don't know how long we've been on. Are we still on?
No, it's been over an hour. Who knew we could still do this, Mark?
Hey, man, it's just like riding a bike. Everybody who's watching this in real time, thank you for your support. We wish you the very best in 2024. All your blessings and wishes come true. And everybody who's watching this at another time, the same. Me and Bootsy still working out. We did Thursday's podcast, so we got to look at your schedule. Bootsy Vegas is a busy man. So what's up, Tanya?
Am I? Well, look here. Before we go, shout out to Shannon Ramsey, who we had in the show, who theme song. She dropped her album on Christmas. Now, she's a Baltimore native. I don't know why Mark don't know that, but don't worry about it, Shannon. I'm going to look out for you. I'm going to look out for the cookout. The person whose theme song we use, Shannon Ramsey, her actual album came out on Christmas, and Mark didn't get it yet.
Bootsy, don't be busting me out now, Bootsy. I will not stand by. All right, Kendrick Lee. Oh, wait a minute. Tanya Ramey.
Okay,
Bootsy,
all right.
what song was that too, Bootsy?
Tanya Ramey?
Listen. Tanya Ramey.
I have no idea.
Name that tune.
You got me on that one. It ain't Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Here we go. Babies. Having.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't remember babies having babies?
No.
Yeah. See, that was one I stumped you on, Bootsy, because actually you're too young to remember that song. And it was one of those. It was like a one-hit wonder type thing.
Absolutely, because I have no idea.
Are you performing anytime soon?
Yes, I am. We're performing at the Piano Lounge next Friday, January the 16th. We are performing, and then we're performing the 27th at the new Convention Center with the New Orleans, Washington, D.C. Cultural Explosion, sponsored by DC Events, DC and Nancy Gates. So yeah, I'm out here in these streets. You know what I mean?
Say we're performing. Who do you mean, Bootsy?
I'm so sorry. The Crank Crusaders, featuring Raheem Devon, is who I'm talking about. Raheem Devon and the Crank Crusaders. Please go down on our album. We got a new single coming out soon. I'm excited about that. But yes, January 16th, Piano Keys Lounge in Brandywine, Maryland. Pull up on me.
All right, Bootsy. Be good.